welcome along to the Project Cars 2 Virtual Racing League, where today you join us for round 4 of the Formula C Championship that we're running on the Xbox platform, sponsored by West Wales Karting down in Haverfordwest, Pembrokeshire. If you haven't been, it's a fantastic little circuit. But anyway, back to the championship today. Zolder at round 1, Sugo, then Silverstone. So today we're at Watkins Glen short circuit, 7 corners for the drivers to tackle. It might seem like only 7 corners, considering that Silverstone is one of the longest tracks, but it's a very old school circuit. This is very bumpy, unforgiving, undulations going on, nasty little curves to catch the drivers out. And if anything is to go by in this championship, the weather will likely have some surprises in store as well, because it's been absolutely pouring since round 1. The driver's standings, Alex CDL, who is not with us today, unfortunately. He's feeling a little bit poorly after his jab, so we wish him well, but he's not with us today. But it does open up opportunities for other drivers to catch back up in the championship, namely Stuart Davis and Scuderia Sam in 2nd and 3rd there, with Roger the Dodger not far back. Stalker Brown, Lupin McGee are also hoping to close in on the leaders, and Subrosa, D-Man, Chris Doherty, Twingo Tastic, Evs, and the rest of them will be looking to capitalise today and try and catapult themselves back up into the contention for the higher midfield places and maybe even the top 3. The team standings is Alex Doherty ahead of Loopy, SD, Buck Dodger, Brown Tastic, and Scuderius Dupont in 5th. Alex Mann, Freebrosa, and Crash and Brash, who haven't really been with us since round 1. But let's have a little look at this circuit today, Ian. Like I was saying, it's a very old school circuit, isn't it? As we watch the safety car pounding round now, and the drivers should, well, do you think it promotes good racing?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a firm favourite among most of the drivers in this championship. It's as you say, it's an old school circuit, undulating, bumpy. It's you kind of got to get the angle right in the corners, and it's there's a good flow to it. So that certainly makes that driver's favourite amongst the drivers today and in the championship. So yeah, it should be a good one here as we look at coming through that little tricky wee chicane. That's always a good test. Try to carry as much speed and get the line right as you go through to the back. And of course we're on the shorter circuit today, so we're not going on to the full Grand Prix circuit, but on the short circuit, so it should be fast and frantic and lots of action throughout, I'm sure.
Yeah, in these last couple of corners now we see the car pounding through. That curve on the outside is absolutely treacherous if you get on that, whether it's dry or wet. So the drivers will be hoping to avoid that and then getting a clean run here onto the straight to try and capitalise and get some positions gains. But let's hand it over to our guest commentator today, Chris Doherty, who will talk us through the grid.
Thanks, Sam. That was another very tight qualifying session by all the drivers. The top 6 covered by less than 1 second, but of course it was Roger the Dodger who claimed pole position just ahead of Scuderia Sam in 2nd, Chris Doherty in 3rd, Subrosa in 4th, Stalker Brown in 5th, Stuart Davis in 6th, D-Man took 7th, Twingo Tastic in 8th, Free Gazelle 9th, Evs 10th.
Yeah, pretty competitive field it was in qualifying. The top 7 covered by a second, and it's raining again. And they start. You can see them at the top of the hill. Roger the Dodger cuts across to force Scuderia Sam off there, and then in the background you've got Subrosa, Chris Doherty, and Stuart Davis fighting over 3rd, 4th, and 5th. With Stalker Brown not far behind. It's Subrosa in 3rd at the moment as they try and all get a good run now up the hill. Up the hill we go. Scuderia Sam has left a little bit of a gap ahead now to Roger, who streaks away at the top of the hill now as they head onto the long back straight. This is where all the slipstreaming is likely to happen in this race. That and the other back straight. Subrosa looks really racy on this opening lap here. He pulls alongside now Scuderia Sam in that huge wall of spray. The drivers behind have got absolutely no chance of seeing anything, I don't think, by the time they get here. And very tight into the chicane, all trying to be the latest to break. And it's Scuderia Sam who loses out there to Subrosa, who goes up into 2nd, and Chris Doherty is up into 3rd as well. Excellent starts by those two. Meanwhile, elsewhere down the field, it's Stalker Brown and Twingo Tastic battling away. Stalker Brown runs a little bit wide here, and that might give Twingo a chance. I think he's ahead now in 6th, and that's D-Man. He's been off. He's been in the wars already. He's down in 10th at the moment. He's still ahead of Alex Brown and Evs though. You can see all the cars pretty much running wide there, making up their own track by the looks of it, but they can be forgiven in such conditions with these puddles catching drivers out. And Chris Doherty's running a little bit wide there, coming onto the straight. Looks like he's already been passed by Scuderia Sam on this opening lap after taking that position initially, and this is going to give Stuart Davis a chance. He dives down the inside now. Stuart Davis hard on the brakes. Chris Doherty sees him come in. He tries to brave it around the outside. Great driving from Chris Doherty. He floors it. It goes right round the outside, and Stuart Davis might be thinking, I should have had him there. But now he's got the slipstream opportunity, heading up the hill here. Probably be using all of the 6 gears in these 200 horsepower machines. Chris Doherty's round. He's hit that puddle on the inside curb there, and it's a feature we've seen already in this championship. Those puddles, they do change quite a lot. He's facing the wrong way. What a scary position to be in as you see the cars going towards him now, flying around that blind corner. Thankfully he's okay. He resets the car and he keeps on going. He's got some damage, but it's only cosmetic damage in this championship, so he should be alright on that front. But yeah, terrible start for Chris Doherty, Ian.
Yeah, sure was. He did so well defending the place from Stuart Davis there, and then just got on the wrong line and caught the inside of that corner and just spun out there. As you say, it's been a bit of a feature of this championship, especially with the changing conditions throughout the race. It's just caught Chris out there, so very unfortunate after a good battle there to start the race. As we see, that's Scuderia Sam now just taking a bit wide as well, so it's quite treacherous. And again though, it's such a wet day for it. At Silverstone we started with the fog, but now we've got the really thick range coming down, just lashing down just now, as you've seen a few people catching it already. Most notably Chris there with that wee instant. As we go back to Free Gazelle there, just ahead of Chris's, and McKev's just coming through. But again, very treacherous, tricky start to drivers, and a few interesting lines emerging already.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the drivers really exploring the limits and more. Look at this now, Stalker Brown defending from Stuart Davis. Stalker Brown's got ahead of Stuart Davis at some point there actually, so great start for Stalker Brown. And Stuart Davis and Stalker Brown really battling a lot as Stalker Brown runs across the grass now, but thankfully for him he doesn't lose control, he keeps his position. He'll have slightly dirty tyres now, although I'd imagine in these conditions the dirt will probably wash away fairly quickly. It looks like Scuderia Sam's had a really poor exit there, and he's been passed by Stalker Brown as well now. Scuderia Sam cuts to the inside to try and defend from Stuart Davis. Stuart Davis now goes right around the outside of Scuderia Sam, and they go side by side. The camera view just cuts away there, and it looks like Scuderia Sam's still ahead of Stuart Davis, but Stuart hasn't given up yet. They both avoid those puddles on the inside, and Stuart running very wide there to try and get the maximum speed onto the straight, but he's actually lost out a little bit now, and that's left Scuderia Sam off the hook. But Stalker Brown, the big winner there now, up into 3rd place, and he's free to try and chase ahead Sabrosa and Roger the Dodger.
Yeah, great little wee sequence there for Brown and Sam. He was kind of on the inside of the puddle there, and he did well not to get caught out in it, and Stuart was putting pressure on there, but yeah, Stalker Brown making the most of it there and getting himself up into a good position.
Yeah, certainly. We'll have to wait and see what he can do now from there. He's looked very promising. He's got plenty of speed of Stalker Brown. It looks like, though, just up ahead, these three are all together now. So Stalker Brown, Scuderia Sam, and Stuart Davis is round. And someone else is round ahead. That's Sabrosa. He's down to 4th now. So Sabrosa has an incident. And Stuart Davis was watching what was ahead of him and sort of made a similar mistake as Sabrosa made, quite possibly. So Stuart's lost a little bit of time there, and that might put his old friend Luke McGee on his tail, which I'm sure he will love to battle Luke McGee once again.
Certainly will, especially with them being teammates this time. I'm not sure that's what Stuart had in mind this early in the race, but especially at a track that he favours well. Was that somebody around in the background? Alex Brown just in the grass there, just getting underway again. But yeah, just caught it in a really bad field. Oh, he's almost like straight off again, coming back through the puddle. So yeah, unfortunate there, but yeah, not the start Stuart Davis would have had in mind at one of his favourite tracks. So he'll be hoping to recover here as he's looking to put the moves on Twingo here around the outside.
Yeah, he was looking for the inside there. Twingo's had a fantastic start, up to 5th place. Twingo's had quite a lot of good starts actually, especially in these wet conditions that we've found ourselves in pretty much every scenario so far this championship. But Stuart Davis now right on the board. He pulls out of the slipstream, pulls out of the spray. He gets alongside him now. This would be very brave into this really fast corner if he tries it, and he has tried it. And I think Twingo's seen him come in, but Stuart Davis runs a little bit wide, and Twingo's still on the outside here. Oh, and Stuart loses the back end, just about hangs onto the car. He's lost a lot of momentum though, and the Irishman now, D-Man 221, comes down the inside, recovering from his earlier incident, and he tries to stick his nose down the inside, but Stuart braves it right round the outside of that one, and Luke McGee is waiting in the background there, the Scotsman waiting to pick off any scraps, and that lets Twingo off the hook. So Twingo, great start from him, all the way up into 5th place. Let's see if he can even progress from there. He's looking very handy in these conditions, and so token of someone who's not looking very handy in these conditions, Alex Brown, has to be said, he literally had no practice at this circuit at all in these cars. He just jumped in last minute, so considering everything, he's doing all right.
Yeah, definitely, as he says, qualifying says practice. So, and with the weather conditions of this championship, that doesn't always do you too much. Yeah, he's doing very well just to be on the grid today. So yeah, hopefully it goes well from there. But he's been very unlucky with some of those puddles early on. As we look at Sabrosa now closing in on Scuderia Sam. So yeah, he's had a good start, and then it just seems to have dropped back a bit, but now he's on the charge again. So it's not been maybe the best championship for him, but he's still quick and looking to be up there in this one today.
Yeah, oh no, Twingo's round, and he nearly takes out a couple of the cars with him, and he's round, and I don't know why the marshal's waving the green flag there. Maybe it's too rainy for him to see anything. That marshal needs to be looking the other way. But anyway, Twingo-tastic, he resets now after doing some donuts for the marshal who wasn't looking the right way, waving the green flag, and he's away again now. But terrible shame for Twingo there. He's down to 9th now. He's been passed by Chris Doherty as well. So Chris is on the challenge, trying to make his way back through the field. But back with the top of the midfield now, Stuart Davis still fending off D-Man and Luke McGee. This is a great little battle. I'd imagine this is going to run for a little bit. But Stu, being the king of this track, he's won so often here, probably more than any other track in this league. You'd be a little bit disappointed being down there in 5th.
Yeah, definitely not where he wanted to be today. Considering Alex CDL isn't here today and he's in the championship fight, so he'd be wanting to be right up there at the top of one of his favourite tracks. Just look at D-Man just making a move down the inside. It's going to be. It's like Stuart's just got the inside there, but yeah, it's going to be interesting now going into the chicane part of it. So yeah, it looks like D-Man's got the inside for this corner. Is he going to make it stick, or is Stuart going to have enough to come back? It looks like he is. He's just got the line into the corner and he's staved off that attack. But yeah, D-Man looked very racist. Oh, Stuart just got a wee bit out of shape there again. So not over yet, but he's done well to stave off the attack so far. But yeah, D-Man's looking quite racy here today as well. Stuart was a bit wide, so yeah, it could be an opportunity for the Irishman today.
Yeah, but D-Man was saying he loves these wet conditions, and he's been going well here. Scuderia Sam now down the inside of Stalker Brown, so he takes 2nd position now, ahead of Stalker Brown. But Stalker Brown fights back as Scuderia Sam runs a little bit wide, and they're all avoiding the puddles very well, it has to be said. Same riding on board with Stuart just now, he was avoiding the puddles well too with D-Man. And Stalker Brown brilliantly there, back ahead of Scuderia Sam, took advantage of that little error that Sam made coming onto the straight there. Still up for grabs, so this position, side by side they go now up the hill, both avoiding the puddles once again. Oh, Stalker Brown there just got on the puddle very slightly, and they nearly had a bit of an incident, but he has to back out of it, and that allows Sam ahead. But now he'll have the slipstream as they go up the hill, and talking of slipstream, it's D-Man now fighting over 5th and 6th. There's action everywhere at the moment. You see that puddle growing as well on the inside, so it's narrowing the line for these drivers, making it ever so more challenging every single lap. Looks like Stalker Brown hasn't got back ahead of Scuderia Sam. What about Stuart? Stuart's still ahead of D-Man at the moment, but these two battles are really fantastic little battles to watch. And now we got Luke McGee and Chris Doherty as well battling away, so fights all the way through the field here. But Roger the Dodger, this has allowed him completely off the hook. He's 9 seconds now ahead of the chasing pack, and he's pulling a bit of an Alex CDL here at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, it looks like it. He's been up there with Alex CDL this championship as well with some of the races, so he'll be appreciating the opportunity to maybe pull a bit of a gap and just disappear. So because he's showing some really good pace in these cars, so he'll be happy to make the most of it today. But some really tight battles throughout, and doing really well in the conditions.
Oh, Chris.
As we see, Chris just spinning out in the background there. But there's been some great battles, which is tough to do in these conditions. So it's great effort from the drivers to put on a bit of a show and also keep it pointing in the right direction in these very tricky conditions.
Yeah, it looks like Makevs and Free Gazelle are having a battle too. We haven't mentioned them so far this race, but they're in 10th and 11th at the moment, and Free Gazelle is giving Makevs a real run for his money here at the moment. Makevs still ahead at the moment. Free Gazelle chasing hard. Look at those puddles now, Ian. They're really growing, aren't they, on that last corner? Drivers are really going to have to be careful going through there. It looks like the rain isn't coming off at the moment anyway. We'll have to wait and see, of course, whether it does go off. It might do. And at the moment all the drivers are waiting for that opportunity. And talking of opportunities, there's D-Man now down the inside of Stewart once more, and Stewart sees him coming, leaves the gap open, but D-Man couldn't quite take advantage of it this time around anyway. Stewart runs wide now coming onto that back straight. D-Man's still in the slipstream. They're going over a real treacherous puddle that's growing at the moment halfway down this straight, but they both survive it this time. Back now with Stalker Brown's Alex Brown off, I think, in the background there still again. Stalker Brown is running very wide and he scrapes the wall here, and that's allowed Scuderia Sam off the hook a little bit as Alex Brown gets going once again. But yeah, 10 seconds now to Roger the Dodger. So Roger, as you were saying, Ian, he's had the pace of Alex CDL, hasn't he? He's just made a few errors which has put him back down in 4th in the championship at the moment.
Yeah, he sure has. He's been running really well, and with Alex not here today, he'll be looking to take advantage of it. As we see Stuart Davis again in the battle with D-Man. It's been so tight. I mean, they've been doing so well to keep it tight the last few laps, and really good racing, especially in the wet and the puddles, to keep it really tight and to have quite an interesting battle here as we look at D-Man again, just kind of looking for opportunities. Oh, he's around the outside. Oh, tag in there, but Stuart Davis just does enough again. But yeah, D-Man looking very racy through that section there, but just Stuart's doing just enough to cover him off at the moment. But yeah, it's tense between these two as we look back at Twingo and Chris on a bit of a recovery drive, still trying to make his way back through the field after a few offs. But the puddle's not working for him today, but and Twingo's had a similar story,
unfortunately. Sorry, Ian, go on.
Yeah, I was just it's just Twingo had a good run early on and then just fell back a bit. So and that's Chris round again. He's not having a very good day of it.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say that Chris, unfortunately, had a terrible time of it at Silverstone last time out. Well, a few drivers had a terrible time of it, actually, not just Chris. But he really isn't enjoying these wet conditions in these cars. It'll be interesting to see what happens when we finally get some dry weather. And talking of dry weather, it has actually stopped raining here now. So could see a chance of some slicks possibly towards the end of this race. We're approaching halfway, so there is a chance here for Chris to come back if he puts slicks on at the right time. We saw back at Sugo at round 2 what happened there when it dried up. And a couple of drivers who put slicks on just at the right time absolutely catapulted themselves back up the field into contention, didn't they? Namely Stuart Davis, who nearly won it. If there'd been another lap, he probably would have won it, putting slicks on at the right time. So there's chances here for still a lot of these drivers. If we look at the race leader now, who we haven't seen for a long time, Roger the Dodger.
Yeah, definitely. You got to think that would be a slight concern for Roger with a 12-second lead. I suppose he'd be quite happy for the conditions to stay as they are, but it definitely looks like it stopped raining, and with another weather slot to go, it'd be interesting to see what the drivers make of it. Do they take a risk, maybe put slicks on a bit earlier, hoping that the track continues to dry out, and or do they wait and see and play it safe? But that strategy will be very interesting as the race goes on. But it's definitely looking a bit drier, but the problem is then you've got to think, is enough time for these puddles and some of them are quite substantial, so if you do go into slicks, you want to be keeping out of them as much as you can, and that kind of affects your racing line. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the drivers play this and how who does what and when. That'll be very interesting.
Yeah, Stalker Brown pulls alongside Scuderia Sam, and he's got the inside line now, and he takes that position away. Absolutely fantastic move there by Stalker Brown. Really aggressive stuff. Scuderia Sam got on the puddle a little bit coming on that straight at the top of the hill, and that put him slightly out of shape, and Stalker Brown took the slipstream as well, and thank you very much. He'll be on his way as Scuderia Sam runs wide now in sympathy. Yeah, great drive in there from Stalker Brown, but he's back behind now by the looks of it, so he's made a bit of an error. So great battle between these two going on for second and third.
Yeah, it sure is. So like to see great effort from both of them, and just still pushing really hard, given everything. Despite us going around, and with the drying track, they'll be looking at this as an opportunity. So yeah, it's great to see between the two of them. It's been great racing already so far. So stuck around just try to size up another opportunity. He's closing here a bit. Has he got a bit of a run? He's in the slipstream now. Can he do something, or is it?
It's like deja vu.
Yeah, and Sam's just covering off, but he's got the inside now. So yeah, he's a bit forceful, but he's managed to get his way just past there, and great move there. He stuck with it. He picked his moment, and he went for it, and that's a great move by Stocker Brown. But will he hold it as Sam goes very wide, trying to carry a bit of speed and get back on the attack.
Yeah, great racing between the two of them, and these two haven't actually raced each other very much, to be honest, because they were in different categories in the last championship in the Ginettas, where Stocker Brown joined us for this racing league. So yeah, they don't really have many notes on each other, so this will be the first proper time they've had a race, and Stocker Brown run really wide there, coming on straight, and this gives Scuderia Sam an opportunity once again now to pull alongside and through and into second place once again. And this is just handing the race on the plate at the moment to Roger the Dodger, but look how dry the track is looking now. There's a car in the pit lane. I think it's Chris Doherty, so it'll be interesting to see whether he's sticking on slicks quite early to try and, as I say earlier, catapult himself back up the field, and these two are still at it as they go up the hill.
Yeah, well, you've got to think in Chris's position, he might as well go for broke. He's down in 11th, and he had some good pace in qualifying, so we just might as well go for it and see what happens. The track is drying out. In some places it's a lot drier, but you've still got some very wet patches. So as we look at is that Free Gazelle? Just
the race leader.
Oh no, it's Roger. It's Roger. Oh dear, that's just what can happen. He's been doing so well today, and it's just all gone wrong for him. So yeah, that's half his lead right there.
Yeah, very, very tricky conditions these are as the track's starting to dry. You've got puddles in places where you didn't think you had puddles, and it looks like a lot of drivers are struggling coming onto that straight actually. But Scuderia Sam and Stocker Brown are not far behind the race leader now. The gap has halved, more than halved. It's only 5 seconds, and these two will know that looking at the timing screens as they go around to complete another lap. They're not coming in the pits quite yet, so they don't feel it's quite ready for slicks yet. But we'll have to wait and see what times Chris Doherty is doing down there in 11th to see if he's put on slicks. And Sabrosa is also not far behind, and D-Man 221, so it is closing up at the top here. Stuart Davis, he's fallen back a bit, but I don't think he's pitted. I think he might have had an incident. Twingo Tastic is ahead, and also Luke McGee. As we look at Free Gazelle now in that track, which is looking ever drier by the second, he's at the moment winning his battle over McEvs, who we're looking at now coming through the chicane.
Yeah, he sure is, but there's a long way to go yet. Still got nearly half race distance and changeable weathers, and already some people looks like they've taken the gamble. So yeah, lots still to go. As we see, Roger had a commanding lead, and it can go very quickly in these slippery conditions. So yeah, it's look at Stocker Brown again on just behind Sam again, and these two have been battling, as you say, not battled often, but they've certainly more than made up for that today. As look at that's the risk you can have with these puddles on the inside, just getting on your racing line and just catching you out at the wrong moment. So well held there, but it certainly dropped him back a bit as he looks to regroup and have another attack.
Do you know, it's moments like that where it might be putting these drivers off putting slicks at the moment, because if it wasn't for those little puddles catching the drivers out and that back straight in the last couple of corners, I think they might be on slicks already, although there's still a lot of spray coming off the back of Scuderia Sam's car as we head up the hill once more. It looks like the cars are about to take off going up there. It's such a steep hill, and it's still climbing as well as they go up here too. But you can see that water isn't clearing in those certain parts of the circuit. But I don't think it's going to be long, Ian. Another lap or two, and we might be having slicks as Stocker Brown edges his way closer and closer to the back of the car. He looks for a move. Oh, very aggressive, trying to force Scuderia Sam into a mistake there, but it just about hangs on to it, and they resume their battle. Oh, Roger the Dodger, he's round again, the same place. Yeah, this time he goes in backwards, he gets going again. But is this going to be the race lead going for him? He's got going again. He's 2 seconds now, 1.9 seconds, 1.5 seconds. So the chasing pack are closing in now, 1.2 seconds. Are the drivers going to come in for slicks now and take a gamble? We'll have to wait and see. Roger the Dodger, he carries on for another lap, so we'll have to wait and see what the others do. Yeah, they're carrying on for another lap as well, but now it's very close at the front.
Yeah, definitely, and as you say, with the puddles and incidents like Roger's having, it will be playing on the drivers' minds a bit. Just is it too early? Is the right time? Is that Sabrosa's just coming in? He's decided it's time to go for it. So will he? You got to think it's maybe slicks the way the track's trying, but who knows? Maybe the driver's expecting more rain, so it'll be interesting to see what he does here. But he's in that sort of mid-pack where it's like might as well take a risk and see what happens, because as we saw in Sugo, you can make major gains from it. And it's just being brave enough to go for it at the right time. So see what he's on when he comes out. As we look at Sam now, just 1 second off the leader.
Yeah, this is where Roger threw it away last time, so he's done it a couple of times now, hasn't he? So, he's done it again! Roger's off once again, the same position. So this is Scuderia Sam into the lead now, Stalker Brown into second. What's going on with Roger the Dodger in that corner? He's not enjoying it at all, and this is his 14-second lead now, is gone completely, and he's down to third position. Such a shame for him after having such pace in the wet conditions. We'll have to wait and see what happens when they put the slicks on, because I think it's a matter of when now rather than if, to be honest. What sort of pace he has then. Will he come in now after that incident? Yes, he's coming in. So Roger the Dodger is in. He's looking for slicks. He takes out the cone in retaliation. Scuderia Sam's in too, and Stalker Brown, I believe, is also in. So yeah, Stalker Brown is also in the pits. So we've got D-Man 221 is out there now leading the race. He hasn't pitted yet. And Sabrosa has pitted for slicks, so we'll have to wait and see how he's getting on with those slicks and whether he makes any gains on the leading pack.
Yeah, definitely. It's everyone's of the same view now. It's now or never to kind of go for it and get to try and take advantage of that drying track. So they'll just be wishing that the last weather slot isn't more rain, so that could make things very interesting. But I think the time. Indeed. So I think the time's now. So I was like, is that Stuart Davis upside down, lost his wing, but won't be needing that with the damage conditions. But yeah, and more bad luck for him today. He won't be happy with that at all.
Yeah, it's very tricky along that back straight. I don't think the camera does it justice, but there's a big puddle, a big lake in the middle of that straight, which is just aquaplaning the drivers off, and it's caught a few of them out. You can still see the spray pouring off the car, but it looks like there's just enough grip as the sun's coming out and warming up the tyres and getting them up to working temperature. As we see Free Gazelle and Stuart Davis battling away for 8th and 9th position. You can see Stuart Davis's car quite easily now because it's got no rear wing on it from his upside down incident. Not quite sure how that happened, but maybe we'll get a replay later. Free Gazelle though is right behind him, so we can see now what his good friend is doing in terms of his racing line. See if he can learn anything.
Yeah, definitely, and look at D-Man still leading at the top here as we look to the race leader just coming over. Or
was that him in the pits?
That's him in the pits. So that's Sam's opportunity to get release lead back, which he does, and be interesting now to see where D-Man's coming in and what his strategy will be. But he's certainly done very well to sort of mid-pack fighting with Stuart Davis. He's catapulted himself up into the podium places now, so that's a great effort and stint from D-Man there.
Yeah, D-Man suddenly in real contention here. He's not far behind Roger the Dodger or Scuderia Sam, but Stalker Brown, something has happened to Stalker Brown because he's down in 4th now and he's 7 or 8 seconds behind Scuderia Sam, and they were having a fantastically close battle before these pit stops. Something has happened to Stalker Brown. We might see a replay of it. Sabrosa as well, he's down in 5th at the moment, so maybe it was a lap too soon for him. As Roger the Dodger nearly thrown it off in the tyres there, as D-Man closes in now, so the Irishman can see the Englishman in his sights. It'll be quite interesting to see what happens when he gets there, because these two could create fireworks. They're both very fast drivers, and D-Man is absolutely on a mission here as well. You can see the drivers in the background squirming away, and someone squirmed a bit too much. Who is that? Chris Doherty, I believe. Again, yeah, Chris Doherty's off. He's in 11th at the moment, and he's really not having a good time of it, is he?
No, certainly not. Just not been his day, and he's been a bit unfortunate with the rain the last we saw him at Silverstone have a few offs and not make the most of it. So it's just not been his day the last couple of races. But he's persevering, he's soldiering on. But he's just been really unlucky with some of the puddles and spots today.
Yeah, it is luck as well, a lot of it, with these aquaplaning moments. The car can just aquaplane at any point. And who was that aquaplaning at some point? Who was that? I think it was Free Gazelle, quite possibly, because Sabrosa was in 5th there, a couple of positions behind D-Man, so it wasn't him. It must be Free Gazelle in the other similarly coloured car. But you can just aquaplane at any point in these cars, by the looks of it. They're quite light, obviously, these cars, although they've got a lot of downforce. They're quite light, aren't they? And also they're low to the ground, so I guess aquaplaning is quite an issue.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen already this championship where if you just catch the car, if you're unlucky with how you catch the car in the puddles, it can rip the car off the road. So we saw that at Silverstone, and we've seen that a couple of times today. As you say, a bit of luck involved. It's just how you catch the water and the angle the car's at, so that makes a big difference. And some of the drivers just been unlucky today. So.
And how do the drivers cope with those puddles when they go over it? Is it just hope and pray for the best, or are you feathering the throttle, or are you changing gear, or braking? What's the best method?
I think you just kind of come off the throttle a bit. So you look at, it's Roger again, just spinning around. It's just not been his day. The second part of the race, he started so well, and he was in a commanding position, but just a few instances have just not worked out for him, and it's dropped him back down the order. But normally you'd want to just either avoid the puddles, or that's Twingo just kind of taking the middle sort of line, trying to get the kind of shallow part and hoping for the best. So there's different ways to go about it. But it's just again more bad luck for Roger today.
Yeah, it's such a shame for Roger. Of course, he has won events in this league before, so he's no stranger to being up there in the leading positions, and he's an extremely fast driver as well. But yeah, just a little bit unlucky today with catching those puddles. But he's still in a really good position. In 4th, he can still get a lot of points from there. Stalker Brown is now ahead of him in 3rd position. We're riding on board now with Chris Doughty, who's off again, but keeps it facing the right way this time. And I think just up ahead is Muck-Evs, so his battle now is with Muck-Evs and Free Gazelle just up ahead, who you can see actually just ahead of him. So this trio here having a really good scrap. Oh, he's going through the middle now, is he? Free Gazelle had a bit of an incident coming onto the straight, and that allowed Muck-Evs through, and Chris Doughty had the best run of the lot of them. And over the line they go now to start another racing lap, coming down to turn 1. Free Gazelle positions his car to take advantage of anything up ahead, and Chris Doughty just hangs onto the car. He's really fighting that car today, is Chris. I don't know if he's on the loose setup or stable setup. Of course, custom setups are not allowed in this league. You have to go with either stable or loose. A lot of the drivers feel that the stable setup is the way to go in these cars, because loose is a little bit too leery. But perhaps Chris is on that loose setup today, trying to find some more time, and who knows, but certainly it doesn't seem to be working for him. He's having a good scrap here now. You see Muck-Evs in his sight. He takes plenty of curb. Muck-Evs also takes plenty of curb, but maybe too much. He runs a bit wide. Chris goes onto the grass to avoid him. But thankfully they both keep facing the right way and continue their scrap, with Free Gazelle keeping a watching brief.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, it's a great hustle from Chris here. That despite all that's gone wrong for him today, he's sticking with it, trying to stick in there and see what we can get out of it. And he's back up to 9th place. He's had a bit of a reward for his perseverance, but it was again kind of with Muck-Evs there just coming through and just trying to avoid each other and just sliding on the grass. It can make little moments like that can make a big difference. But he's survived it there. As we look at that D-Man now coming in with.
It's D-Man fighting for first. He's really caught Scuderia Sam now.
Right
in the
up
closing
there,
stages here. We've only got another couple of laps to go here. It's obviously a 30-minute race, so it's run to time, not laps. But is that rain coming down? I seem to think it's got clouds here. It looks like there's a little bit of rain in the air, and this could be playing to the strength of the Irishman now as he hunts down the Welshman. And it's a pure scrap now between the two of them for first position. Stalker Brown is a good 4 seconds back, with Roger the Dodger 9 seconds back. So yeah, with a couple of laps to go now, it could be between any of those four, but Scuderia Sam and D-Man are having a really good scrap here for the lead, and Scuderia Sam coming under significant pressure from D-Man in the closer stages, and Subrosa put significant pressure on his rear end because he's spun. And he's in the fast chicane, he's getting going again now, but he had to wait for some of the cars to go through. He's down to 5th position, so he was doing his best to try and catch Roger, but unfortunately now it's put him back. But he has got a bit of a gap back to Luke McGee actually in 6th there, with Stuart Davis chasing hard after him. But Scuderia Sam now, he's only got a lap or so to go, and you can see behind him D-Man closing in, and menacingly so. And he looks at the back of Scuderia Sam's car now, thinking, which way can I try and get past? And which way can he get past Ian? Where's the best place on this circuit, on this tricky dry-in track now?
Well, D-Man's looked really good on the run up to the chicane, which is kind of just where we're coming up to now. He's looked, we saw him earlier with Stuart Davis, he's looked supreme there, and he's got Sam in his sights there, and this is the sort of ideal opportunity to him. We've seen Sam defending quite well through this bit as well when he was in some of his scraps with Stalker Brown, so he'll know what to do, how to position his cars. He looks just doing enough there to keep just to block any opportunity D-Man might have. D-Man likes this line down here, but yeah, Sam's just wise to it and just staying ahead of him there. But that's where you got to think there's an opportunity for D-Man if there is anywhere. At the back of the circuit, it's still quite wet, so they'll maybe not want to be falling off the road there. But that's the kind of the place you think where D-Man, if he was going to go for it, would take his opportunity.
Yeah, I think this might be the last lap, actually, the last corner, because looking at that time there, I don't know if we're going to get time for another lap. So this could be the win here for Scuderia Sam. We'll have to wait and see if the checkered flag falls. He comes over to the pit lane. I think that is the win. Is it? Yes, it is. It's the win for Scuderia Sam there, who benefits from Roger's earlier errors, and D-Man running him really hard there at the end. Great race between those two. It's a shame, actually, we didn't have another lap. That could have got quite tasty. Although Scuderia Sam probably wishing there wasn't another lap. And Subrosa, Tokyo drifting it around the last corner. Coming home for 5th position, it looks like, and Stalker Brown claimed 3rd place there, final spot on the podium, with Roger the Dodger 4th, Subrosa in 5th, and we're looking at the Scotsman now, Luke McGee, flying Scotsman in 6th position. Looks like he's going to finish ahead of his teammate Stuart Davis, so no team orders there. As he comes around the last corner, he keeps it facing in the right way. Stuart Davis will likely finish in 7th. There's Stuart there, so he's a good bit back actually from Luke McGee in the end. Runs a bit wide. And then we got Twingo-tastic, who was really up in the top positions early on, wasn't he? And but now he's in 8th position, still good haul of points. And Free Gazelle in 9th as the post-race parties begin in turn 1.
Yeah, they sure do. It was tough day for Chris and Twingo. They both were running high really early on, but they've done well to kind of get a bit of recovery drive and get some points out of it at the end of the day as we look at the final standings.
Yeah, confirmation there. Look how close it was on the line, 0.4 of a second. Actually, this championship has seen extremely close finishes. Alex EDL, of course, has won the previous 3 races, but has been within a second or two on the line each time. So, yeah, proving once again this championship is extremely competitive, with only 0.4 in it. And then Stalker Brown 4 seconds back. Roger the Dodger, who could have won today quite easily if it had not been for some unfortunate moments. Subrosa and Luke McGee. Stuart Davis fell back through the field, didn't really have pace at one of his favourite circuits today, surprisingly so. But he'll still be in the championship hunt. Twingo-tastic is in 8th position. Chris Doddy, a bit of a nightmare, but has a good scrap towards the end there with Free Gazelle just behind him. Driver standings now look like this Ian. It's very close, isn't it now? 4 points in it.
Sure, 4 points in it. Scuderia Sam making the most of Alex CDL's absence today, and Stuart Davis not having the best day. It's made things quite tight at the top of the championship there, and Roger as well, who had some good pace but didn't make most of it today. But it's still quite tight between them with 2 rounds left, and then Stalker Brown, who had another good race in moments today. In 5th, so it's very tight top there, and all to play for with Alex CDL missing today.
Yeah, Chris Doherty, Twingo-tastic joint on points as well. McKev's only a few points behind as well, so there's battles all through the field, isn't there? And the team standings now closes up slightly. Luke ESD caught slightly by actually they pulled away a bit, didn't they? Sorry, Luke ESD pulled away a little bit from Alex Doherty in 2nd, with Brown-tastic and Much Dodger. Scuderia Stewpot, Scuderia Sam never seems to have his teammates with him, so I don't know, they must not like him. And then Alex Mann, Free Brosa, and then the long absentees Crash and Bash there in 8th position on 22 points. We hope to see Crash and Bash back at the next championship. But like you say, Ian, only 2 rounds left to go now, so it really is getting to the crunch time now of this championship, and can't wait to see whether we'll have some more dry weather.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what these could look like in the drivers. Haven't had that yet, but it's been very, very exciting, some of the conditions we have had, so hopefully it's just more good racing and good battles throughout.
Yeah, so from Ian and I, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time at Le Mans Bugatti Circuit, round 5.